welcome back. Let's talk about the big focus story of the hour. The BJP-led NDA's nominee, Droupadi Murmu, filed her nomination papers today for the 18 July presidential elections. She was accompanied by Prime Minister Narendra Modi and top union ministers, including Home Minister Amit Shah and Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, as well as party President JP Nadda. Besides the NDA leaders, YSR's Congress's V. Vijay Reddy and BJD leader Sasmit Patra, who are not part of the NDA alliance, were also in parliament to back her nomination. AIADMK leader O. Paneerselvam and M. Thambudurai, JDU's Rajiv Ranjan Singh, were also seen with those who attended the part of this nomination filing process. Droupadi Murmu, if elected, will be the first tribal president and the second woman to ever hold this post. She is pitted against opposition's candidate Yashwant Sinha, who is likely to file his nominations on the 27th of June. Let me introduce our guest joining us this evening on the program, Gargi Nandi Roy, political analyst, and Tausif Ahmed, also political analyst and lawyer. We'll talk about whether the choice of the candidate for the presidential polls is also based largely on identity politics, and somewhere the true credentials of Droupadi Murmu have got ignored. That's the point of discussion. But before that, let's listen into the inputs coming in on the story.
मुझे लगता है कि एनडीए के जो उम्मीदवार के रूप में भारतीय जनता पार्टी और तमाम संगठन ने जो तय किया है, पूरी तरह से श्रीमती द्रौपदी मुर्मू, जो आदिवासी वनवासी क्षेत्र से आती है, और मुझे लगता है कि पहली बार इस प्रकार के लोगों का चयन हुआ है और निश्चित रूप से भारत की राजनीति में एक राष्ट्रपति के रूप में आने वाले दिनों में ये बहुत बड़ी बात होगी।
देखिए, मैं इस विषय में अपने नेतृत्व को बहुत ही बधाई देता हूं कि उन्होंने एक ऐसा कैंडिडेट जिसकी आज के समय में बहुत बड़ी आवश्यकता एक लग रही थी। आखिर ट्राइबल जगत का भी एक बहुत बड़ा स्थान अपने देश में है, इसलिए एक ट्राइबल कैंडिडेट को देकर के एक बहुत ही अच्छा काम किया है।
My colleague Mayank joins us live from Delhi. Mayank, take us through the developments in terms of the nomination filing process. There was quite a lot of optics there. The NDA's pick of the candidate is being loaded with a political message as well. Tell us more about this, please.
Well, absolutely, and this is a perfect optics for the BJP and the NDA, so to say, because remember the Prahlad Joshi, who is the Parliamentary Affairs Minister from the BJP, his residence was, center of attention since yesterday night, because the chief ministers of all the BJP-ruled states, they were arriving one by one, from Himanta Biswa Sarma of Assam to Shivraj Bommai of Karnataka. All were coming in, one by one to sign that nomination paper, and Droupadi Murmu signed her nomination paper at 12:30 today in presence of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, JP Nadda, Home Minister Amit Shah, and also remember coordinator of AIADMK, O. Paneerselvam. And that is very significant because remember, this, a nomination of Droupadi Murmu from the BJP, can be called as a very politically tactic move, because very wise political move, because, the fact that she has her roots in Odisha and also, in Jharkhand, it ties hands of both the BJP, Biju Janata Dal, and also JMM. So BJD has already supported, they had already announced that they would support. And remember, the BJP had 48.67% of, vote share in the electoral college. And the support of the BJD, it allows the BJP to, go past 50%. And as the YSRCP of Jagan Mohan Reddy throw, their support, the BJP's and the NDA's, vote share in the electoral college goes well approximately towards 55%. Almost almost sealing the victory for Droupadi Murmu. But what is significant here is that because that, there are multiple factors involved in, a nomination of Droupadi Murmu, that she has a roots in Odisha and also in Jharkhand, and that she belongs to, a tribal community. It also makes a tough choice for the JMM, Jharkhand Mukti Morcha. Remember, which was one of the, nomination, which provided one of the, nominator for the Yashwant Sinha's candidature for the president of the country. So now JMM is in a tough spot, and they have called a meeting tomorrow where they have called their MP and MLAs. That meeting will be, chaired by Shibu Soren, the chief of the JMM. And they are now in a fix that if they want to support, Droupadi Murmu, because that their politics is based on the identity of tribal community. So they are in a fix, and one of the party which nominated Yashwant Sinha, they are likely to go and switch side and support Droupadi Murmu's candidature. So this move of, nominating Droupadi Murmu, who is a woman and also, from tribal community, has almost tied the hands of all the opposition parties. We are also hearing that, she has sought support from the Congress President Sonia Gandhi, and also Trinamool Congress President Mamata Banerjee, who is, likely to support, can support on the basis of the fact that Droupadi Murmu is a woman, and she can be the only leader, the first politician to become a president of the country as a member of the tribal community. So all the opposition parties are in a fix by this move by the BJP, and all the opposition
thanks for joining us with your inputs, Mayank. I want to begin by asking that can Droupadi Murmu be the consensus candidate in a way? Even though you have Yashwant Sinha, what Mayank was also telling us is that there is a chance that now, because of the choice of candidate, because of the kind of identity that she carries, some parties, even from the opposition, may be tempted to back her. Tausif Ahmed, I beg your pardon, do you agree with this, that the BJP once again, as always, have played a smart political move with the choice of Droupadi Murmu?
No, I would not. I would stop short of calling it a smart political move, because that is for people to decide. Certainly, BJP stands exposed because in all these years, especially from the tribal areas, especially from the tribal population, can you show me one minister in the BJP union government or in the state government of BJP? Can you look at the number of tickets that were given to the tribal people? You will find that they are very less in number. Yes, in order to do some kind of damage control, they have chosen Ms. Murmu now, who has been the Jharkhand governor before. And in fact, Jharkhand's tribal activist yesterday had said that although they are happy for the nomination of Ms. Murmu for the president, they hope that Mr. And let me quote them: "We nurture high hopes that vexed tribal issues like Sarna Dharma code for the population census would now get a hearing. We are happy that a tribal and Santhal woman is going by the numbers, almost certain to become the president." Well, it is true that although NDA has a number on their side, but there is also hope. In a way, they fall short of being critic, but they are expressing their hope that while she was the governor, she was not so proactive, and now the people expect her to be proactive if she does become the president of India. Well, we talk about the opposition camp's candidate, Mr. Yashwant Sinha. This is not the first women president that we are going to have. Miss Pratibha Patel was the president of India before. Being a woman, Miss Murmu candidature would be the second if she becomes the woman president. But we also have a very, very well balanced portfolio in Mr. Yashwant Sinha, and Mr. Yashwant Sinha enjoys support of more number of political parties, more number of political think tanks than Miss Murmu. Who's basically, chosen by 1.5 people of Modi and Shah. That is what it has always been. That is the style of governing of central government. So even if she holds the post of the top seat of our country, whether she'll be allowed to work freely in comparison to Mr. Yashwant Sinha, that is ample clear to everyone. We all understand the opposition's candidature
questioning
of
the stature of Yashwant Sinha, no, undoubtedly one of the tallest leaders of the country, a former finance minister, who knows the ins and outs of the constitution, high caliber, no doubt. But what we are questioning here is, Gargi Nandi Roy, is that here is a candidate whose tribal credentials are played out. But let me just, for the sake of our viewers, tell our viewers who Droupadi Murmu is. Yes, she is born in the Santhal community. Yes, she is a tribal leader, but there is more to Droupadi Murmu than just that. She has risen in the ranks. She, in fact, rose through the ranks, became a minister in the BJP alliance government in 2000. Later, the governor of Jharkhand in 2015. Of course, when the BJP was in power in the state, 2017, she returned bills proposing an amendment to the Santhal Pargana Tenancy Act 1976, which sought to give rights to the tribal to make commercial use of their lands. So, Ms. Murmu has been actively working on social issues. The tragedy is no one is talking about that. Even for that matter, Gargi Nandi Roy, the BJP is not making any bones about the fact that they are trying to capitalize on her tribal credentials. Isn't that a bit, dangerous and also disturbing to see? Yes, you've put up a woman candidate, but only for the sake of identity politics.
No, I think it's both. See, of course, I think she's a subaltern to say the language of the left and the Latvians. So they should cheer that a subaltern has risen to the rank. And she has been 2 times MLA's minister. She has handled portfolios like transport, commerce, fisheries, animal husbandry. And she's the first Jharkhand governor who has completed her term of 6 years. And she devoted her life in social service, service of the poor, downtrodden, and the marginalized. So the people who otherwise talk about the subaltern should cheer for her. And those who are saying that she will be dumb when Yashwant Sinha, nobody is questioning his credentials. He was the finance minister and all. But there is a question regarding Yashwant Sinha. See, he may have had some problem in BJP and he quit. But it is really very surprising that he at this age joined TMC, which is something ideologically absolutely opposite. And didn't he remain quiet when all the post-poll violence, doesn't he know about what the post-poll violence happened in West Bengal? Few days ago, you are aware of the violence, the 11 hours blockade of highway, when Hindu houses and shops were profiled and burnt and attacked. Yet Yashwant Sinha remains with TMC. He follows the leader Mamata Banerjee. Has he ever questioned Mamata Banerjee's rule? That why this violence? Even the NHRC said, there is no rule of law in West Bengal, but the law of the ruler. So yet Yashwant Sinha remained quiet. And the same people are questioning Droupadi Murmu that she will just follow what the Modi government will say. Why? She's a woman. She has faced such immense personal tragedies.
No, our only concern here is you have chosen the lady as part of a political game plan with the keeping the Lok Sabha elections in mind, keeping the assembly polls in Odisha in mind, where tribals constitute over 22% of the total population. The BJP-led NDA nominating its presidential candidate hailing from a Santhal community has a bigger, so why, yes, so let's stick to that. I mean, while you may, bring out certain issues why Yashwant Sinha is not the best candidate, let's accept that these are the reasons that you have chosen Droupadi Murmu to give you an edge in the next round of elections. Gargi Nandi.
Yes, that's what I said. Yes, that's what I said. That isn't she the first one to complete the term of a governor in a state like Jharkhand? And whatever, she has been a teacher. She has even been an honorary teacher. She has worked as a junior assistant. So everything, she has literally risen through ranks.
But
and
why is your party not talking about that? Why is the political narrative only about the fact that here is a tribal woman leader? There should be more discussion around why she deserves to be the candidate for the post of the president.
Yes, I agree with you.
Or not just with the hope to get dividends in assembly elections, because all that we see, and look at the kind of optics today with the top brass, the highest offices of the country present there. Part of it is, of course, protocol, but part of it is also the political messaging. Yes, Tausif Ahmed.
You see, it is high time, and I think the young generation especially will agree with me when I say this, that India needs a president who will be active, who will be allowed to have a free thinking, who will be allowed to maintain his or her own individuality and to act according, to what he or she feels is right, not according to what two or three people in the government would dictate him or her. So when we look at the two candidates, when we look at the two candidates,
Let Mr. Ahmed complete. Hold on, Gargi Roy, hold on.
When we look at the two candidates from that point of view, there is no match to Yashwant Sinha. If we talk about Miss Murmu, Yashwant Sinha, no doubt, has proven his credential in the past so many years of politics. And why
Tausif Ahmed, don't you agree that it's a game set match now, given the numbers heavily stacked in favor of NDA? Isn't it? Is there even a contest that we can look at? What are your thoughts on that?
No, just one point. Why is
Hold on, let's finish one point, one after the other, please. Yes.
Why is Ms. Gargi surprised when Mr. Yashwant Sinha joined Trinamool? They are old buddies in politics. Mamata Banerjee and was also in the Vajpayee, was also with the part of the Vajpayee government of BJP of NDA. So there is no surprise.
Okay.
Mr. Yashwant Sinha's track record, if you contrast it with Ms. Murmu, and think about who will deliver, who is a more promising candidate who can sit and do their work actively as the President of India.
Okay. So quickly, Gargi Nandi Roy, respond, and I need to close the conversation. Go ahead, ma'am.
Yes, Tausif, please don't question her credential that she will only follow the Prime Minister because she has worked, she has handled so many ministries. I'm not questioning Yashwant Sinha's career. But yes, Yashwant Sinha, when he joins Trinamool, it is questionable because ideologically opposite. And Yashwant Sinha has listened to Mamata Banerjee. He has not questioned Mamata Banerjee's wrongdoings. What has happened in your state? You do not know the post-poll violence. You do not know what happened a few days
At the moment, Gargi Nandi Roy, the fact is you may not even have to face an uphill task or a contest when it comes to finally choosing the president. The numbers are heavily stacked in favor of the NDA and its partners, and now with two other parties, YSRCP and BJD also putting their weight behind Droupadi Murmu. It may not be, totally inappropriate to say that perhaps we already know who the next president of the country will be. Thank you very much for joining us, Tausif Ahmed and Gargi Nandi Roy, for your time.